I hope you guys are doing well as well. Let me just what we're going to cover today. Today is going to be one of those lives. Let me just bring up the live stream so I can see everybody. Today is going to be one of these lives that we're going to wing it. We're just going to wing it. I spent the morning. Morning working on some bookkeeping and financial stuff for this company that I have. And that just took up a lot of time. Hey, Terry, how are you? That just took up an excessive amount of time, so I didn't really have a chance to prep like I'd like to for my lives. So we're going to do an Iran update, and we're going to, but I'm going to keep it kind of light. Let me just bring TikTok in. Hang on. Okay, so we've got TikTok in as well. So like I said, we're going to keep the live kind of. I don't necessarily mean that the content is going to be. I'm getting an error message here. What? It looks like I screwed up. Looks like I screwed up. I didn't bring Instagram into the live. That's okay. I don't want to cancel it. Make sure I get Instagram in tomorrow. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. So, like I said, today's live is going to be kind of light. I'm going to, I'm gonna cover the news. We're going to kind of go over it. Hey, Gamer Vet Dad, if anybody wants to join me, if you want to come up and let me just see. Let me turn on multi-guest here. Let me see if I can do this. So I think I've got multi-guest on. Hang on, let me just pull this up. I don't really know how to do this in TikTok. I think I have the multi-guest functioning, working, I think. I think. Well, I guess we'll find out. So if you're in, if you're in TikTok and you want to come up, if this multi-guest thing is working, if you can see it, you're welcome. Anybody on Substack, just let me know in the chat if you want to come up and talk about things, or just put your comments or your thoughts in any of the chats as well. We'll talk about it. But if you want to come up, I'll send you I'll send you an Ecamm. I'll send you a link from Ecamm to join. Let me just try one more time. Let me just see if I can get this multi-guest thing working in TikTok. At least I think I have it working. I don't know. Can you guys on TikTok see? I mean, I can't really see what you guys can see. Can you see if the guest option is available to actually come in and join? I don't know. I'll have to look into this, but I think it's working. I think it's working. If it's not, it's not. Hey, Ann, how are you? Hey, Irish Aggie, how are you? So anyway, if you have opinions, thoughts, questions, put them in the live. We'll cover them today. As I said, because I'm ill prepared. If you missed our live yesterday, because I couldn't live stream it everywhere, I thought actually I could only live stream it to TikTok. I had a last minute guest who joined us. It was Michelle Coopersmith from the Center for Accountability, and it was an off-topic interview that I really wasn't expecting, but it was a nice change of pace to kind of get away from the war for an hour. It was a story about Lindsay Halligan. Remember Lindsay Halligan, the unfit insurance lawyer, unfit for the job that the village idiot Donald Trump placed her in temporarily because she wasn't legally in the job. That was to be the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. And the only reason he put her in there is because the previous prosecutor who we had in there refused to indict James Comey, Letitia James, and other people that the village idiot Donald Trump perceives to be his enemies. Right? So he didn't like that. So he put Lindsay Halligan in there. Lindsay Halligan, and again, I mean, she might be a brilliant insurance lawyer, but she was a thoroughly incompetent criminal prosecutor. She kept fucking everything up that she kept trying to do. She kept embarrassing, humiliating herself in the Department of Justice in court. And it really was not a good scene. And eventually she was removed by federal judges in the Eastern District of Virginia because she was technically there illegally. Her story didn't end after that. There was a push to have the Florida, because although she was living in the Eastern District of Virginia, she's licensed to practice law by the Florida bar, and she was, the Florida bar was investigating her, and the Trump administration decided to intervene. And not just that investigation, but investigations across the board of any state or private agency that is investigating corruption of the Department of Justice lawyers. Trump affiliated Department of Justice lawyers, and the Florida bar magically, just days after that, said, no, we made a mistake. We're really not investigating her. And Michelle discussed that issue with us yesterday, and it was almost like a breath of fresh air, right? Because it was some corruption that didn't involve, I don't know, bombs, right? Right? Some corruption that didn't involve actual bombings and explosions. That seemed good to me. It seemed like the kind of corruption we can deal with. So if you missed that interview, I've got it posted on Substack. Of course, if folks on TikTok, if you want, if you want to see that, go to Xenocracy.news. Please subscribe. You can subscribe for free. If you want to support my work, please consider a paid subscription. But either way, you do have access to the interview. It was a really, really good interview, just a shorter one, just about 35 minutes, but a really interesting, if not ridiculous, story. You could also see it on my YouTube. YouTube is Xenocracy, Zenocracy. And I think I posted it to Facebook as well. It's a Facebook post. So I'm just Mitch Ivan, MITCHEIVEN at Facebook. So if you are interested, please check it out. So I'm just kind of taking a look at one more time just to see if I can figure out how this guest thing works if you guys can continue to bear with me, how this guest things works on TikTok Live Studio. Because hey, Jules, how are you? I'd like to give the TikTok folks an opportunity to come up if they want to. I mean, there's an invite option where I can just invite any of you and all of you, but I feel like that's too complicated. I feel like it would be easier. Here we go. Here's the grids. Let me see if I can allow requests from viewers. Okay. So we have that set. Allow moderators to manage guests. So we do have that set, but I don't see the grid. TikTok folks, can you guys just let me know if you can see the grid to come up and request to be. This doesn't mean you need to come up. I'm just wondering if you guys can see the grid, because I can't see it on TikTok Live Studio, but if you guys can see the grid that allows you to just kind of pop in and request to chat. I know there's not a ton of people here, but if any of you can see it, just please let me know in the chat. Nope, not there. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, I should have thought this through before I came on, right? Before I came on live. Because it doesn't seem, maybe it's something that has to be properly set up before we go live. I have a feeling that that's the way it works. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Something will work out later. I just wanted to I just wanted to be a little interactive today because it's been a long week, and it just might be it might be a little bit less stressful on me to have some of you guys help me carry the live today. And also, I think I'm so tired of hearing myself talk after a week, and I think I find that you guys have much more important things to say than I do at this point. So I'll work on it though. And anybody on hey Lacey, how are you? Anybody on Substack, if you want to join me, just let me know and I'll send you a link to get into the streaming profile. And of course YouTube, Facebook. I know you guys are here, and I apologize. I still haven't figured out how to see the streams yet, but I'm getting there. Anyway, let's cover some of the news. Let's cover some of the. Thank you, Lacey. That's pretty funny. I know that wasn't meant to be funny. I know that was a compliment. Lacey said that they love hearing me talk, and I guess there is a little bit of I've told a little bit of Donald Trump in me. I am a narcissist, and I do like to hear myself talk, but I can only take so much of it. You know what I mean? It's enough. All right. Let's just cover the fucking war because there's nothing else to talk about anyway. Well, there's the Epstein stuff, and I'll get to that in a minute. But let's cover the war. Dow dives 600 points as oil jumps. Iran says it will keep the Strait of Hormuz shut. So the new Ayatollah said yesterday that there is no reason. They see no reason to open up the Straits of Hormuz. Now, before I even get to that, I want to ask you guys, because again, I want this to be a little bit interactive. I want to ask you guys. Oh, there is a guest icon, Abigail. Thank you. I did not know that. All right, if anybody wants to, and again, I don't even know if I know how to answer it, but if there is a guest icon and you want to be a guest, hit it. Even if you want to argue with me, I'm up for it today. And Abigail says there's a freaking guest icon. So I believe Abigail. Hit that. So let me just, before I go a little bit deeper into this reporting from CNBC, I've got to ask a question. And I asked this question I just did a post about it. Does the world not know that Donald Trump lies and that he lies incessantly? I cannot figure this out. I can't wrap my brain around it. The Village Idiot Donald Trump says, like, what was 48 hours ago, of the plethora of contradicting things that this idiot is saying about the war, right? He gets up and I don't remember if it was in the speech he gave or if it was in the Truth Social post. This was when he was addressing chicken shit GOP senators and crazy and pretend crazy GOP members of the House at the Republican retreat, wherever the fuck it was this time. I think that's where he said it, but he made the Straits of Hormuz are very safe. It's safe. You can go. And if we have to, we're going to escort. Well, we're going to give you the Navy is going to escort you through. But it's safe, right? He said that, right? Now, I knew, right? And you knew that it wasn't safe, right? We know that was bullshit, right? We knew that it doesn't mean anything. We know that nothing he says means anything. And we knew he was panicking because just about 8 or 9 hours or 12 hours or whatever before he said that, right? And he said that before the markets closed, the stock market was crashing and the price of oil the evening prior had hit as high at one point at $119 a barrel, right? So the Village Idiot Donald Trump was shitting himself. It was another instance where he wasn't literally shitting his pants. Maybe that happens, but he was figuratively shitting his pants, right? Because the only things that scare that imbecile are one, jail, right? Possibly going to jail someday, and that's probably never going to happen. And the other thing that scares him is because he's such a fucking narcissist with such a weak ego, fragile ego, that whenever the people he covets, the people who he wants to want to be around him, the people who he needs to love him, the particular popular group that he needs to be a part of, which right now is tech billionaires and other billionaires and world leaders, at least the ones that he thinks are tough and strong, Putin, right? MBS, from Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince, right? These are the people that he wants to be around. And when they don't like him, he gets nervous, right? He gets very upset. And the stock, in addition to the price of oil reaching $119 a barrel just the evening before, the stock market was pseudo-crashing again, right? So the idiot was probably instructed by the goofballs around him that you better go out and you better say something to calm the markets, because we know you don't give a shit about oil and the price of oil, nor are you fucking capable of understanding it. But your friends are upset. So the idiot goes out and he calms the markets down Because as dumb as he is, he knows that he can just say something, right? He's capable of saying something. It may not fucking mean anything because everything before that and after that, and I did a post on this, I have the receipts. I edited a clip from this speech that you can find on all my vertical socials, right? He did this fucking crazy ass, meaningless, weird speech, right? Where he talked, about unrelated, incoherent things like they have great dirt. They have very good dirt, but the dirt is no match for our missiles. And they have granite. Granite is very strong. I know granite is very strong, but it's no match for our missiles. So he was talking about dirt and granite and other things, granite and other things. But he did manage to say in that speech that, the Straits of Hormuz are safe and and traffic is flowing and, go. And again, you would think, right? Hey, Gary, how's it going? It's good to see you, Gary. You would think that nobody would go, right? You would think that, everybody knows this imbecile is a uncontrolled sociopathic liar. And you would think if you were a captain of an oil tanker sitting in the Strait of Hormuz or wanting to go through it, but knowing better that you probably shouldn't because the Iranians said they're going to blow you up, and they've done it, right? Who are you going to listen to? And, I would think, or if you're a company that owns one of these cargo ships or one of these tankers, right? Like, who are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the village idiot Donald Trump, who just is desperately trying to calm the markets because his friends are being hurt financially, and he couldn't give a shit about your crew, right? Or you, if you're the captain of the boat. Or are you going to listen to the Iranians who are their entire war strategy is to stop the fucking flow of oil in the world? And they're going to blow up any shit that they see in the Strait. I would have thought that everybody knows, right? At this point, I know here in America, we're the ones that have dealt with this imbecile for over a decade, and we're the ones that were dumb enough to reelect him. But I know the rest of the world knows about him. There's nobody that doesn't know about Donald Trump, right? I don't think. So, yet, he finishes the speech. The markets rebound a little bit. They don't go back up to the 50,000 or wherever the Dow was, but they rebound. The price of oil takes a breath, goes down to $85 a gallon. It's back to almost 100 today, but that's another story for a little while later in this live, right? And of course, immediately after that, the idiot, who has to show the world how big his cojones supposedly are, right? He puts out a Truth Social post, once again threatening to kick the living shit out of the Iranians, right? Like the other speech didn't happen, right? And now there's the new speech. But these captains, and I mean, thank God to the extent that we know about it, and I hope this is the case, nobody was killed or injured for the 3 boats. I think it was, one cargo ship and 2 oil tankers who were like, oh, Trump told us it's okay. We're going to be good. Let's go. And they went. And this is the ultimate. This is not Pete Hegseth, our drunken Secretary of Defense who likes to look tough and be tough and is gleeful about, the catastrophes of war, who's can't say enough times, you want to F around and find out with President Trump after he takes a couple additional shots of gin, right? This isn't him. This is the Iranians. They're not Pete full of shit Hegseth. They do the shit they're going to say they do, and they're going to do. And lo and behold, they bomb these three ships. They blow, halfway blow them up, right? But they don't blow them to smithereens, but they render them in essence useless. All three ships. We've all seen the video footage, or if you're not, I mean, you may be checking out from the news, and I get that, right? But if you've been watching cable news or you've been watching social media, you almost certainly saw the images of those three different ships on fire in the water. So what I don't understand, and then I'm going to get back to the news coverage. Oh, so Gamer Vet Dad, one sailor died from one of the tankers, but it may not have been direct action. Still, even if it were indirect action. I mean, if the sailor died, it's still a tragedy. But it maybe if the sailor died indirectly from an attack, it's still a tragedy, right? So I that sucks. It's just another loss of life unnecessarily because of this stupid fucking war, right? But I don't understand how the world doesn't get it. I can't wrap my brain around this. I can't wrap, and I guess it's so frustrating to me because here in the United States, and again, we may have some folks who on the live who see the world from this perspective, and if you do, please, I'm happy to hear why. Please put it in the chat, and I won't argue about it or debate it. I'll just read it, right? I'm sorry, guys. I just have to give me 2 seconds. If I hate to do this to you, but my nose is running, which is nothing new, but that will be disgusting on camera. I have a 4K camera too, and you'll really see it. So give me like 7 seconds. Don't go away unless you've had enough. Then I get it. You can only take so much of this shit. And then Mitch's nose is running. It's disgusting. He's disgusting. He's disgusting. I'm gonna go get a tissue before I fucking run on this microphone. Don't go away or go away. I'll be back. All right, guys. I usually have a box of tissues here, except when I don't, which is today. Thank you for joining the fan club. Okay, where were we? So yeah, I guess it troubles me more than it should. Hey, Gail, how are you? It's good to see you. It troubles me more than it should because here at home, I think many of us that are actively involved in the pro-democracy community, and certainly all of us that whether we're actively engaged in pro-democracy efforts or we're just sort of forehead deep in the politics of the madness that we're living through now, we're always trying to make sense. We're always trying to understand how 1/3 of America, no matter what Trump does, how at 1/3 of America at this point, no matter how bad things have gotten, haven't figured it out yet, right? And whether it's brainwashing and cult-like thinking at this point, or whether it's just folks not being able to, going to the point where they're so unwilling to just admit they made a mistake that they're not just willing to vote against their own interests, but sometimes put their lives and their livelihood at stake to support this buffoon because the policies he enacts and the corrupt behaviors that he bestows upon all of us are actually dangerous to us at some point. So we don't know, like what drives that thinking, and it's difficult enough to kind of process that here at home, which is ground zero for the Trump administration, right? But to try to understand, to extrapolate that beyond the United States, and to try to understand, and Gail, I see your point. Gail's saying it's racism, and I get it, and I think that is a fair assessment, right? But let's extrapolate that beyond the United States, right? Let's think about a captain, in charge of an oil tanker sitting in the Strait of Hormuz, who, I'm not saying that captain necessarily not being an American, would necessarily have an interest in U.S. politics, right? But how can that captain possibly not know at this point, especially being in a war zone, right? Who the liar is. And granted, I know the Iranians lie. I get it. I get it. Except there is a difficult reality that we as Americans have to face up to. I struggled to face up to this with the Israelis while they were engaging in genocidal behavior with the Gazans as well, because I'm Jewish. I'm an American Jew. I've told this story on live many times. I myself always grew up being told and taught that Israel is always the good guys, and they're not, right? I had to kind of clear my own head of my own brainwashing, right? And we're so used to in the United States, even when we kind of are the bad guys, we're still sort of a democracy. We're the best democracies supposedly, right, in the West, right? And even when things were really bad. Say during the Bush years with Bush and Cheney and the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and all that nonsense, right? Even though we were the bad guys, that was a ridiculous war. There was still it felt like, but maybe it just felt like this. There was still a decency to that was associated with the United States of America while it did catastrophic and indecent things. But Donald Trump has removed that sense of decency, and it's now just corruption, indecency, indignity, stupidity, and all these other things. So the reason I bring all that up right now in terms of this discussion is that I didn't think I was going to go here, because it's a discussion that I'm having with myself, thinking out loud here. But I bring that all, I bring that up right now because Iran, we're just as bad, right? We're in this odd moment where there are no good guys. And I was talking about liars, where the Iranians lie, and the Iranians are they state sponsor terrorism. That is a thing. But right now, we are also the terrible bad guys, right? And we now, because we have Donald Trump in charge of the United States, we are bigger, bigger, more ridiculous, less believable liars than the Iranian propagandists at this point. Let me repeat that. We in the United States are worse. We are less to be believed than the Iranians are, because Donald Trump cannot utter 2.5 sentences without 2 of them being abject lies, and the other half of that sentence being just some sort of misinformation, which is like a little bit of truth filled with a lot of lies, right? And the Iranians, in this instance, spoke the truth. They said, we have already hit ships in the straits. And if you have any more go through, we're going to do that again. Right? That was true. That wasn't Iranian propaganda. That was a true thing. Donald Trump is not even capable of telling the truth at that level. So instead of him saying, like a normal fucking person would, you know what? We're gonna secure the straits. We're gonna make it safe, but nobody move. Leave your boats where they are. I'm gonna leave the boats where they are. We're gonna get rid of the mining boats, and but don't go anywhere right now. It's not safe. Of course, the idiot said it's safe. Go. And I guess to kind of wrap up my buffoonery right now, right? My babbling buffoonery right now, to kind of wrap it up, because I cannot understand the mindset here in the United States of those who still believe anything Donald Trump says at all, any actual thing, although they know they've been lied to incessantly over and over and over and over and over again. They know it. There's nobody that doesn't know it. I don't care how brainwashed you are. You know when somebody lies to you. If I tell you these are red glasses, and I tell you that over and over again, and you love me so much, and you are so invested in loving me and believing me, and you're so unwilling to admit that you made a mistake by trusting me, that you keep saying and telling everybody that these fucking glasses are red. You still know it, right? Unless you're colorblind, and that is seriously fucking colorblind, right? You know that these are not red glasses. So everybody in America knows he lies. And I cannot understand that thinking. I cannot wrap my brain around that thinking. But I accept it here in the United States because, as Gail said, there might be other reasons that motivate one to choose that line of thinking. It could be an appreciation for the racism, the bigotry, the misogyny. It could be a lot of people connect with the self-victimization, right? It's not my fault that my life isn't working out the way it is. It's the brown people's fault who are coming in from the southern border. It's the liberals' fault because they let all the people coming in from the southern, whatever, right? Like, I understand because I know U.S. politics well, and I have some sense of the psychology of the American electorate. I don't, although I don't get it, I can understand the other reasons for it, sort of, but I still struggle with it. How my fellow Americans I'm no smarter than any of them. I'm no better a person than any of them. How they don't get it, even with their motivations, right? So if I can't get that here in the U.S., when I see 3 ships of 3 captains, 3 companies who own those ships, 3, I don't know which ships were from which countries. I don't recall the reporting about that. Gamer Vet Dad, if you know, please pop it in the chat. I don't recall that, right? But I'm assuming it was 3 ships, 3 different countries, 3 captains, 3 companies, right? I don't understand, and I choose to be really bothered by the fact that they believe Donald Trump. The fact that anybody believes Donald Trump and that you're willing to risk your own life and the lives of your crew members because he said something. I don't get it. And that's all I got. That's it. Gail, let's see what you guys have to say. Gail, they drank the Kool-Aid and it's permanent. They have the support of their families and friends. I agree. Gamer Vet Dad, I agree, Mitch. How can people overlook his lies? Everyone knows at this point. I think everyone knows. I just want to check out TikTok for a moment here. Just want to see if there's any comments. Treasonous Trump turned us into a shithole country. Remember when he used to call them shithole countries? Mimi, agree. Zoe, does Israel have a right to exist? 100,000%. Israel has an absolute right to exist. And I would even agree with you that the Iranians have said that Israel has no right to exist, and I find that appalling and unacceptable. That doesn't mean we should be in this stupid fucking war right now. I can actually counterbalance both of those things can exist in my mind. That Israel, that Iran is a horrific place right now, at least in terms of its current government. That the previous Ayatollah was a cruel, evil, and profane dictator, that the new guy seems like he might even be worse. And they repress their people, and they have made a clear-cut determination, and they say it over and over again, that Israel has no right to exist. At the same time, this fucking war is absolutely ridiculous. It is achieving absolutely nothing, at least for the United States. We'll see what it achieves, if it achieves anything for Israel. And it's not going to achieve anything because we have a bunch of bozos, buffoons, dingbats, and whiffbags who are running this particular war, who don't know what the fuck they're doing. The planning, as well as the strategy, as well as the messaging, is completely fucking incoherent. And Donald Trump is already starting to get bored with this stupid war. He's already getting ready to go into Cuba. It seems like this war is simply the result of Senator Lindsey Graham, scheming with Benjamin Netanyahu, coaching Benjamin Netanyahu, and there's plenty of credible reporting about this, coaching Benjamin Netanyahu on how to convince the village idiot to join the war. The village idiot is now freaking out about the war because the price of oil is too high, and his approval ratings are going lower, and it's one of the few things that he doesn't like, and he's going to pull out of this war, whether that's this week, next week, in 3 weeks, 5 weeks, or whether it's when oil is at $200 a gallon. And he's going to leave Israel hanging wherever they happen to be with the war. They will be fucked for trusting him because they haven't learned any better yet. And he's just going to declare victory, say that he won. And the only thing we will have accomplished was we unalived a whole bunch of little girls, a whole bunch of other people, in Iran. We've lost 7 folks here. 7 of our own military. We've apparently now we've lost at least one person on one of these ships. You're talking, what was it, 13 to 1,500 Iranians, rough estimates right now of the people who were lost there. You have at least almost a couple dozen Israelis who have been injured or unfortunately have been unalived. And at the end of all this, all we're going to have is a more radicalized, potentially a more radicalized, more extreme Iran that the village idiot got tired of because he wants to go on to Cuba and get his big win there. That's just going to be able to start building up their drone and missile defenses, and they'll have absolutely no reason not to further trying to figure out a way to enrich uranium and build a nuclear device. That's how I justify the idea that this shouldn't have happened, and that Iran is still a horrible. The current Iranian government is absolutely horrific. That's what I think, for whatever it's worth. GamerVet Dad, Japanese and Thai bulk cargo ships and a Marshall Island fuel ship. Thank you, Gamer. Let's well, you know what? We lost the respect of the world. What is it, 11:52 right now? Gamer, I did see your request earlier too. I was gonna before I started ranting right there, I was gonna shoot you over an invite to come in, but I ranted for too long, and I have to wrap the live at noon today because I have a few things to do before our daily briefing over at Chorus today. So let's put a rain check. If you're, I'm hoping. I've got sort of a tentative interview for tomorrow, so I'm hoping on it. I don't want to say anything yet because I keep telling you guys about interviews that are tentative and then they don't happen. So I don't want to. Mitch he's got a lot of interviews. Mitch, everybody wants to talk to Mitch. They love me and they want to talk to me. I'm very popular, but I don't know if I'm going to have it. But if you're free tomorrow, Gamer, and I don't get the interview, let's definitely bring you on. If not, let's schedule it together because I want to be respectful of your time too, to make sure I can get you on when you're available as well. All right, so let me find. I told you I wasn't going to babble today because I didn't want to hear myself talk. And then what happens? It's freaking 53 minutes of me talking. It's what happens, guys. Let's cover this news. Let me just let you know what the hell's going on. Dow dives 600 points as oil jumps. Iran says it will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. The Ayatollah yesterday said that. Stocks were under pressure on Thursday as oil prices added to their surge on supply disruption worries. While Iran war continued, the Dow Jones fell 611 points. Crude oil prices continued to climb after Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khomeini, who was appointed on March 9th, said the Strait of Hormuz should remain closed, quote, as a tool to pressure the enemy, so forth and so on. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, we're finally getting to know this bozo, but he fits the class of buffoonery that is in the entire cabinet of that is the entirety of Donald Trump's cabinet. But let's see what he had to say. Energy Secretary Chris Wright told CNBC on Thursday that the U.S. Navy, quote, is not ready, quote, end quote, to escort oil tankers. That is not what the Village Idiot said the day before. The Village Idiot said, if we need to, we're gonna do it. We're gonna escort them. If we need to, we'll do it. If we need to, we'll do it. Except we need to. But the Navy put out a statement later that day that they can't fucking do it, and apparently the Energy Secretary agrees with that. So that's the economic news. Gas right now here, I think I saw it today, and usually here in northern New Jersey, we're cheaper. We're at $3.23 a gallon. I know the national average, because I looked it up about 2 days ago, was $3.48 a gallon. What is it? Put in the chat what it is by you. I don't know what the national average is. And yes, MC at McColby 2, war crimes have. Yes, we have. This is certainly a great point worth mentioning. War crimes. We have certainly the attack on the girls' school in Iran, even if it was accidental, is certainly should be investigated by the ICC as a war crime. We should be investigating it here, domestically, not drunken Pete Hegseth investigating it, but investigating it for real. And we are now a rogue war criminal nation. We are right there with Russia, maybe not to the extent, because there's still a large pro-democracy community in the U.S., which outnumbers the pro-autocracy community, where we're not tolerating, and the courts have held to a certain extent, and even to a very, very limited extent, the Supreme Court, on at least some of the most egregious, and only some of the most egregious efforts to interfere with democracy, have they kind of sort of stood firm, but very rarely and sparingly. But that is the only thing that has saved us becoming Russia completely. But war crimes are something we do now, sadly, actively. In the Pete Hegseth and the Village Idiot blowing up those alleged narco-terrorism boats in the Caribbean Sea and in the Eastern Pacific on the other side are war crimes. You don't do that. And clearly the war crime they were all war crimes, because they were none of those assassinations at sea were necessary. That's not how we handle supposed alleged criminals. We catch them, we try them, and then if they're convicted, we punish them. We don't assassinate them on the high seas. That's illegal domestically, and it's a war crime. And then you certainly don't order the military when you have a ship that you've destroyed, and you have 2 or 3 sailors who are stranded at this point, who are injured, who are on an overturned ship going like this. You don't order the military to bomb them. That's stone cold blooded murder. And then you don't try to bullshit the American people by arguing, as so many of these chicken shit GOP senators and crazy and pretend crazy GOP members of the House, you don't try to make the argument that, well, they might have been signaling cartels in the sky. In those skies that just F-35s, right? Is that our fighter jets? The skies patrolled by those things that just blew up the ships. There's going to be a cartel plane, a corporate jet, a Piper, right, flying around, continue the mission, right? Or better yet, they were going to turn the boat around and continue trying to deliver their nefarious cargo to the southern coast of the United States, right? Those are war crimes. Oh, I got 1 minute. Well, maybe a little more than 1 minute. I want to go over just a quick review of Al Jazeera's breaking news ticker. I like Al Jazeera's right now for one reason and one reason only. Well, two reasons. One, I know it would piss off those who would hate that, and that seems somewhat satisfactory to me. And and two, Al Jazeera seems to be doing the most comprehensive moment to moment report. Oh, hang on, Alexa's telling me to pay the phone bill. Hold on. Alexa, stop. That's one of my reminders. Al Jazeera is doing anyway. They're doing the most efficient, and I look at news from everywhere. I look at all our major news outlets except the propagandist channels like Fox News. I look on there for entertainment somewhat, but NBC News, ABC News, CBS News is becoming Fox News. So MS Now, occasionally CNN because it hasn't been fully propagandized yet by the Ellison brothers, but by the Ellison father and son, but they don't really own Warner Brothers yet. They will soon, so that'll become a shit show. I look at BBC News, Haaretz, and Jerusalem Post in Israel. Sometimes I look at Australian news outlets, CBC, I think that's what it's called, and Canada. I try to look at, because I'm a news junkie, I try to get the news from as many places as I can. And Al Jazeera, I think, does, out of all the news stations I've seen, whether you like them or you hate them, it doesn't matter. I think objectively, I think they do the best straight up moment to moment coverage about what is happening at the moment in Iran. Who's been bombed? Where has it happened? When has it happened? Who said what? Where did they say it? When did they say it? I don't see any comprehensive news ticker as effective as Al Jazeera's. So that's one of the reasons I'm sharing it with you. So just to go very quickly, Iran says it'll target U.S. bases in the region unless they are closed. That's from Khamenei. A minute ago, airstrikes targeted PMF headquarters in Iraq. Gamer Vet Dad, what are PMF headquarters? I'm guessing that's something you might know. 6 minutes ago, Iran is targeting ships in response to U.S. attacks. Can the U.S. stop it? So that's an analysis piece. 11 minutes ago, Hezbollah targets Israeli settlement with missiles. If you're not following that part of the war, because if you're not, again, it's very easy to miss anything because there's so much news coming from so many places, and so much news coming from so many places that I wouldn't hold it against you if you're not following the issues with Hezbollah and Lebanon and Israel. Hezbollah, in response to the war in Iran, it has been sending missiles into Israel. Israel has been responding, not just to Hezbollah on the border, but has been slamming and really hitting Lebanon, even attacking Beirut. Gamer Vet Dad, so the PMF headquarters in Iraq are the Popular Mobilization Forces. Now, I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to go more into it, but maybe we'll save that for another day because I just have to rush through this ticker. 16 minutes ago, Khamenei's first statement points to, quote, more of the same under Iran's new leadership. And let me just pull up the rest of the breaking news. Iran wants to ensure war is not imposed again. So I believe yesterday Iran came out with three things that they would agree to end the war. Gamer Vet Dad explaining what the Popular Mobilization Forces are. He said it's 7 predominantly Shia armed groups formed in 2014 to fight ISIS. Okay, so 70 Shia armed groups formed in 2014 to fight ISIS. Let me just quickly continue with the ticker, and then I'm going to wrap the live. Non-combat fire on USS Gerald Ford leaves 2 sailors injured. Again, it is, you got 2 more sailors. We found out yesterday that 150 U.S. service members have been injured. CENTCOM or the Village Idiot or Drunken Pete Hegseth or somebody else was holding that back from us. There's no reason that we weren't told until yesterday that 150 of those troops were injured. Some of those injuries I remember in the reporting were traumatic brain injuries. Those soldiers' lives are going to be changed forever. The seriousness of the injuries, we don't know about the rest of them. They intentionally, I believe, didn't tell us about those injuries. And again, there's no reason to think that there's not more injuries other than the 150. There's no reason to think, in my humble opinion, that we haven't lost more than 7 soldiers, although officially it is 7 soldiers. So we're just going to have to wait and see as the truth comes out. The unalived toll from Israeli attacks on Lebanon rises. International Maritime Body calls emergency talks on the Strait of Hormuz. Italy to withdraw all troops from its base in Iraq. Israeli military announces a wave of strikes in Beirut. I told you about that a minute ago. Khamenei dismissive of new Iranian Supreme Trump dismissive of new Iranian Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei. Norway restricts Strait of Hormuz access for Norwegian flagged vessels. I think I'm going to wrap it there, guys, because I do have to bolt. I'm running a little bit later than I needed to. Gail, what a perfect moment for your comment. Release the Epstein files. We haven't forgotten about them, Donald. This didn't do it, my friend. It's still a thing. No matter what the distraction is, no matter how catastrophic it is. I told you guys, in my opinion, months and months ago, the things that destroyed the Trump administration, that ended the politics of Donald Trump months ago, was the Epstein files cover-up and was the economy. And now we have 2 more things. I originally talked about that, I think, in around April 2nd after Liberation Day. And then we had in August, a little bit further in July, we had Pam Bondi and the Epstein files. Those were going to be the 2 things that were the end of the Trump administration that don't go away no matter what the distraction is. The next thing was the cold-blooded unaliving of Renee Good and Alex Pretty that we saw live and we saw video footage of. That never goes away. And now all of the cost of lives in this war and the cost on our economy, there are 5 things, I believe, that have there were 2 of them before, and now over the last couple of months we've added 3 more. It's the end of the politics of the Trump administration. I've said that for a while. All we have to do is deal with the authoritarian coup. And that's a lot of shit, I get. Anyway, guys, I love you. I got to roll. Thank you so much for being here. I know I promised to get to a lot of questions, and then I just started babbling. Sorry about that again. 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, one day at a time, one live at a time. That's the dog is over here with me, and she knows I'm wrapping up the live. Here she is. You want to say hi? Here's Pixie. Say hi. All right, I got to take this. One of the things I have to do is take this dog out right now because, I don't want her, going to the bathroom on the rug. All right, little girls, just stop. All right. Anyway, guys, I love you guys. Thank you for the group therapy. Thank you for letting me babble incessantly for over an hour. I will see you guys tomorrow, 11:15 a.m. If you're, if you want to support the channel, head over to Xenocracy.news, subscribe for free, and please, if it's something that you are comfortable doing with, consider a monthly subscription. Love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. And certainly I'll see you on all the socials for the rest of the day.